Wolfman just told me a secret, but you
No.
don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't care.
No, don't.
tell me.
No. How are you today? We are Susu, Boo Boo, and Buster, and that guy, the Wolfman.
Peace.
Yeesh. So we are back to do Sabaton. We haven't done them in a while.
Sweet Sabaton?
Sweet Sabaton.
Yes.
This is Rorke's Drift music video. We read the history of it, and you said you think there's a movie about it?
There's a movie about this. It's basically about a bunch of Zulu warriors that attacked a mission of British soldiers, and a lot of the British soldiers just left, just being horrified left. I don't want to get into politics of, the British took over. They did. We know they did. We did as well. But the story, I believe, was made into a movie.
And it was a Swedish hospital.
Yeah, it was a hospital
and church.
But it was defended by British soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Command of John Chard and Gonville, somebody named Gonville Bromheath. So maybe that was I don't know, but apparently, the British kicked their asses, and probably because the Zulus had spears and stuff, and the British had guns. That's the only thing I can imagine why that would happen if you have, an overwhelming amount of warriors that attacked, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have not seen this, so this is our first time reaction to this particular song and this particular video. We haven't done.
Not in this.
He's not?
Mm-mm. He wasn't with Sabaton yet when they did this.
Oh, this is earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't done any Sabaton in a while. We do like them, we just haven't done any in a while. So bear with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Hold on. There we go. Got it. Hey, man.
All right, let's go.
Let's go ahead. Let's play that. It's definitely from the movies, and probably in the 70s, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
News that came the morning told that the main force had been slain. Chance for peace and justice gone, and the talks had been in vain. The prince had been abducted, and here on the path of war. Now the 1,500 men are dead, and the Zulus at the door. Zulus attack, fight back to back. Show them no mercy and fire at will. Kill or be killed, facing or waiting a hostile spear. A new frontier, the end is near. There's no surrender, the lines must hold. The story
I recognized
Yeah, it looked like they
Michael
used a
Caine.
video from an old movie.
Michael Caine was in the beginning of that. He had longer hair and was much younger than we would remember him. But yes, I actually remember that movie. I don't know that I watched the whole thing. I was a kid when it was done, but I believe I probably did. Interesting in that it appears, though, that some of the Zulus did have guns, but most of them
They had muskets, so it's a single load, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the British had as well. They didn't have muskets, but they would fire, and that was one of the things I was going to say that I really appreciated from the history standpoint, is that's how the British pretty much took over the world for a while. I mean, if you look at the discipline, right? They would fire, and then they'd move forward, and the other rank would fire, and then they'd move forward, and then when they were forward, they'd drop to their knees and reload their guns, right? And they were dropping all around them. There was no fear, right? They just did their job. Boom, boom, boom. And there's a guy, we see him standing there telling them what to do, telling them when to advance, telling them where to move. And honestly, that's a British, I think, I'm certainly willing to be wrong, but I think it's the British machine, right? And we had that sort of in America as well, especially after World War One, right? We got into World War II, and tactics changed for us.
Well, it's very amazing to me that 350 Zulus died, but only 17 British soldiers.
Yeah.
And they were so outnumbered by the Zulus.
Again, I think a lot of it was the advancement in arms the British had, the tactics that they had. The Zulus had their tactics and their ways, but they're fighting with other people who had spears and bows and arrows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And again, I have no problem addressing history the way it should be addressed. I mean, the British went over there and took over. And that particular time, I think it was in South Africa. They look like South African Boers, probably. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was bad, but at the same time, it's interesting to me. I find it so interesting. I think I'm done with my comments, but I liked it. I honestly didn't hear the song at all. I heard a couple words that he said, but I was so engrossed by the movie. It actually makes me want to go back and watch the movie.
The tempo of the song worked with
Yes.
the parts of the movie they were showing. They always have this certain style when it comes to, it's not always an anthem or a together war type song, but it's a combat type.
Who played the guitar? I would love to know.
I don't know.
I'll have to go back and check, because the guitar part was fantastic, and it shredded, and it was fast. I'm going to go back and watch that whole movie. One thing that is flashing through my head, though, is definitely the 70s, right? Because they get a bullet hole, and it's a little red thing, and I'm watching a movie now that's a remake of a World War I movie called All Quiet on the Western Front, and it is brutal. And I mean, when they get shot with these bullets, think about watch when they're loading. These bullets are this big, right? And that's how it was back then. That's how it was in the 1800s. In the 1900s, the bullets got bigger. They got easier to reload. The cannon fire was bigger. They had gas, in World War I. And when these bullets hit you, they blew you apart, right?
Yeah.
And that may be too much for some people, but I think we need to show war as it is. We wouldn't be so happy to send our kids off to go to war if we really watch some of these movies with our eyes open. That's my opinion.
Well, if you watch
not liberal, not conservative. I'm saying I'm not getting into that fight with anybody. I'm saying that we have this tendency to throw ourselves into wars without really thinking about the cost. Anyway.
Right.
And same with that thing, right? Anyway, that's all I had to say. Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about. I thought it's a really interesting story. I didn't know about it before. I think though that right before we did this, we were talking about the Zulus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you laughed at me and said they're not from the Congo, they're from South
You're
Africa.
gonna bring that up, so what you're doing? So
No,
what you're
because
doing
you
right
just said South Africa a
now?
minute ago.
Because the Zulu's range was from the Congo to South Africa.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's why I think, now the British went all over Africa, and so did a bunch of other nations.
But they were protecting a
the
Swedish
Dutch,
hospital. So were they in
Swedes,
Sweden?
well, they weren't in Sweden, they were in Africa.
Hmm.
We just don't know exactly where. I'll find out. But she's correct. I mean, she said something about the Congo, and I don't know why I laughed at you.
No, you didn't laugh. I'm
I
just.
poo-pooed it a little bit.
And then you said, "Hey, you were right."
I was right.
And I was like,
when
okay.
she's right, I tell her she's right.
Yep.
When she's wrong, I just constantly tell her she's wrong. That's not true. I love this woman. And I love you guys. And thank you so much. And what do we do now? Hey?
If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, share, notify, comment down below, and as always, be blessed until we see you again. And
Don't worry. I think it was this way.